The riders are trying to line up with the judging criteria to maximize the score.
If the FWT judges are putting a score on an overall impression based on the 5 judging criteria, which are technique, control, line fluidity, and airline style, it's important to understand that judges have to keep a score in their mind at all times during the run. So by now you know that it's the ranking who's important. To really understand why a rider can make the difference, we'll compare side by side Andrew Pollard and Valentin Reiner's run, who were nearly identical in FWT 2023, to see where and how one rider is performing better than the other one, and so why he's ranked higher. As every Freeride World Tour competition, riders start out of the gate with 50 points. Both skiers are starting from the start 1 and are dropping right in the steep above massive exposure. But while Valentin takes carefully his time and takes a couple of turns before heading towards the lookers right of the venue, you could see Andrew dropping straight down out of the gate, cutting all other previous tracks and doing only one turn above this massive exposure, which allowed him to traverse at a much higher speed. While we still gave 2 points to Valentin for going on the no-fall zone, we gave an extra 7 points to Andrew thanks to his technique, commitment, line and fluidity. At the end of the traverse, the extra speed allows Andrew to add even more points by having his first jump a perfectly executed floating 3 above exposure, which gave him another 5 points. Looking at both runs side by side, you can already see how much Andrew is faster on his traverse. Valentin still at 52. This part of the venue is very steep. Both riders are aiming for the Hazel Cliff, but Andrew does only half of the amount of turns. You can see that Andrew goes a lot faster, gains some fluidity points, and adds another 3 points. Andrew 65, Valentin didn't gain any points. Valentin 52. Both riders are taking the Hazel Cliff to its highest. Valentin a bit slower, but longer, and full line, while Andrew is taking it with more speed but slightly across to avoid the bomb hole. Both riders are adding 12 points to their score. Valentin 64, Andrew 77. The traverse brings the riders to the far lookers right of the venue. The orientation of this part is pretty much south and the snow is always a lot heavier. Both riders managed to keep their speeds, but Valentin put a 360 on the wind lip, and I had another 5 points to the original score. Andrew gets stuck due to the tricky conditions. He loses the 4 points overall. Without losing much flow, Andrew might have changed his line. Andrew does a small straight air with style and a 3. For the combined action, Andrew scored 5 points. Valentin, on the other hand, kept his line high up to reach a much bigger cliff. He sends a big backflip and scores 12 points. He has a control issue on the landing, what we call a stage 2 backslap. The backpack touches the snow, but he managed to keep his head and arms forward, so we deducted him 6 points for the jump. Both riders are now heading to a side jump. Valentin barely jumped, but Andrew, showing off his flexibility, will score an extra 2 points. Both riders arrive at the bottom of the venue. Valentin goes big on the last jump and keeps it straight and tight between the ice balls before the finish. Andrew takes it a lot safer by going smaller but sideways, which allows him to hit an extra feature. Valentin +6, 81. We asked ourselves if Andrew would have lost some points as he went sideways and traversed the bottom of the venue, but because he added another jump, Andrew +6, 86. Looking back at the highlights of the runs for the overall impressions, both riders have landed perfectly the hustle cliff. The highlight of Valentin's run was his big backflip, but the landing wasn't clean. Andrew's run would have been perfect without getting stuck in the wind lip, but the technicality of his line at the top and the overall speed on flow gave him a much better overall impression. Once all the judges put their score down, the average score was 81 for Valentin and 86 for Andrew. We have just seen how the judges are building the scoring, but keep in mind that what's important is the ranking.